All right. There we go. All right, it's 10:30 and I'm back on it live. Another big fat yarn. Let me just turn off this background music. How do I do that? Ah, we'll go back. Oh. Yikes. Sorry, guys. All right. All right. There we go. Back on for another big fat yarn. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for tuning in. For those who are already watching, I see I've got one viewer right now. So, hey, Mama Cracker, how are you? How you doing? Thank you for joining me once again. So this time around, I am in a different room. The last time I did a live stream, there were a few difficulties that I encountered. For one, it was about 35 degrees Celsius, which is freaking hot. Couldn't open a window. It was just humid heat. And yeah, I was starting to lose a bit of my energy towards the end of it. So I'm in a different room. I'm where the air conditioning is, and it is good. It is good. I should be, well prepared. I've got myself, water. I should be well hydrated, and yeah. Um, Couple of things that I wanted to really just you know uh bring up in conversation. Um, there was this documentary that's come out on Netflix. Don't know if you've heard about it. It's called "You Are What You Eat." um, yeah, it's a documentary basically about human nutrition, and yeah, I really wanted to hear people's thoughts around this, whether you're on a live or whether you are, you know, watching later on. Yeah, we'll get into it. But before I do, I just want to acknowledge who else just jumped on. Hey, Susie, how you doing? Thank you for joining once again for another big fat yarn. Um, and Mama Cracker, of course, I'll just show that comment there. Alrighty. So, yeah, have you guys seen the new or have heard about the new Netflix documentary on that is titled "You Are What You Eat"? Well, I only heard about it a few days ago when I decided to um put it up on to make it a discussion topic. So I looked further into it. Um I haven't seen it, but it makes sense. Well, the title makes sense. It absolutely does. But the documentary itself, it's oh man. You haven't seen it either? Well, you know what? You don't need to. Both of you, you don't need to see it. Honestly, it's another. The big glaring thing about this documentary is, um, it's clear it is totally a vegan propaganda. Oh, I've got Nicole on. Hey, what's happening, Nicole? Welcome. Uh, Welcome to the Big Fat Yarn. So, yeah, I was just talking about the, I was telling Susie and Mama Cracker about the new documentary on Netflix. You Are What You Eat. I'm wondering if you've seen it, Nicole. Yeah, so as I said, it's a another piece of vegan propaganda, which really no one needs to see. It's laughable, and it's really uh to be quite honest, I did watch maybe 10 minutes of it, and it was cringeworthy, to say the least. You could tell off the bat it was just gonna be another propaganda piece, and it was, yeah, I just cringed the whole time, and I don't think I can actually, yeah, I don't think I can actually, uh, stand another minute of watching the documentary, to be honest. Yeah, it's I look, yeah, yeah. I think it's worth it to do a reaction to it. It's a TV series, so it's about I think a couple of episodes, an hour long. Um, but again, if you've got the patience to sit through it, fine. There are some points that I think are worthwhile to react to. If there's anything worthwhile to react to, Nicole, I think it's the actual study itself. So the documentary is based off a study that they've conducted on a set of vegan twins. Oh, sorry, not a set, 22 sets of vegan twins, and they basically whilst this trial was going on for the duration of 8 weeks, they decided to do a documentary piece on it and basically film what was going on and I guess add a little bit more to the narrative. So yeah, I don't know what else. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, apart from that, it is vegan propaganda. It really is. The study itself, I mean, I'm not a scientist, and I'm not, you know, really here to point at the specifics. But the things that glare out to me is that it was an 8 week trial that looked at basically, or the primary outcome that they wanted to see was the LDLC levels, and so they compared. Uh, so they compared vegan diet. These twins were allocated different diets. They were allocated um, a vegan diet and an omnivore diet. So basically, um, each twin was given, yeah, a vegan or an omnivore diet. I don't know how they sort of selected the process and how they went about it, but basically, yeah, that's how it went. They looked at blood markers. They looked at yeah, yeah. Exactly. How did they control it? They didn't control it. So basically, for the it was as I said, 8 weeks. 4 of those weeks, they provided the meals for the twins, both the vegans and the omnivores. And after the 4 weeks, they decided to say, "Hey, you guys can go ahead and make your own meals." Basically, um, from what I'm aware of, it isn't a locked-in metabolic ward study. It wasn't a properly observed, for the for the whole duration of the study. Apart from the cameras that were on them during the documentary. Um, so yeah, it's another failed for me, another failed study. It did nothing to promote veganism. To be honest, in my opinion, I think it really just gave us more ammunition to really poke at how flawed the whole you know um vegan ideology is. It didn't support anything, and it goes off, like looking at the primary outcome of LDLC, which is not a risk factor of heart disease. And so they without that primary outcome, which obviously they saw an increase, or sorry, they saw lower LDL levels in the vegan cohort. Whoop de doo. we knew that. Um, but you know, without that, really, the other outcomes that they saw in the study were insignificant. And and I only really did a quick glimpse of it. Um, which I should I bring it up? Nah, it's all right. Yeah, it really the data to me was insignificant. But again, that's coming from me, who's not a scientist, and not anyone who's trained in science. I just go off, based on the things that I've learned online from people like Bart K. But yeah, curious to know what the parameters were. When you mean parameters, yeah, are you talking about like what sort of yeah? If you could elaborate on that, I'd like to answer that. Fake science. Well, not science at all. Actually, I don't. It's not. Yeah, well, fake science. Yeah, but it isn't science to begin with. Do you think twins switch places for the blood test? I mean, who knows? They weren't watched. They weren't observed, and uh, would you be surprised if they did? I don't know. Um, yeah, it's very interesting to see how far these how far they would go to promote veganism. I mean, did you really need to make a documentary about it? And really, uh, you know, it was it was pointless. It's nothing. The study showed nothing of utility. It really didn't. I mean, for one, as I said, LDL isn't a causal factor for heart disease, and we know that through the if we actually applied some scientific discipline and understood you know uh the things that go behind the statements that have been made. um, yeah, assuming that they were equated, and which they were. That's clear on the paper. It's under the assumption that LDL is obviously a um uh lower LDL was associated with as a positive health marker. Well, I don't think that. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows what the parameters were? They were on their own for the last 4 weeks, and I don't understand why they would have done that anyway. Like, possibly to do with the funding. I don't know. It makes no sense, and you know, um, yeah, it's silly. It's silly. It really was. Let's see if I can actually share it here um on the stream because I had the study up. The way to share it. Uh, oh, look, I'll share it. Mm, mm, mm. Is it? Nah, it's all right. I was gonna I'll share my screen where I've got the study up, um, but I don't know how to do that. If I was what I ate, I would have been a pickle most of my life. Yeah, yeah. Um, it's quite ironic too, like the title. I mean, you are what you eat. If you're put on a vegan diet, are you a vegetable? Are you a plant? Um, oh, and the other interesting thing about the study is, and I've only just watched a few bits and bobs on the internet about people's reviews on it. I heard that it's sponsored by, well, the documentary itself is sponsored by Impossible Meat, or is it Beyond Meat, the fake meat company, basically. is a sponsor, and and another large sponsor of the documentary and the study was a guy, another vegan propagandist. I'm not too sure what his name is. All I know is that he's some sort of investor at Silicon Valley. Same guy who funded Game Changers, and actually, I think it's even the same directors who directed Game Changers. So again, all you need to know. Yeah, bias much? um, what else? Anything interesting here in the study? Yeah, so they basically concluded that the vegan diet led to improved cardio metabolic outcomes compared with a healthy omnivorous diet. That was the outcome of the study itself. And of course, you've got to you've got to propagandize that a little bit more, and you've got to attract other people through clickbait, and you know spread it to the masses for people to see through Netflix. Yeah, that's if there's anything to, nah, I can't even applaud them for that. That's just uh, peanut butter toast. Yeah, yeah, peanut butter toast. What would I have been? Ah, damn, I would have been everything. What I eat? I would have been rice. I ate a lot of rice. If I was what I ate, I would have been rice. Definitely. Hogwash, 100%, man. 100%. Look, I'm not, I'm a nice guy. I really don't. I don't wanna be targeting anyone, and it's nothing personal. But, yeah, I'm targeting the vegan ideology, basically, or sorry, the theology, because it is what it is. It's oh, man, it's an ideology for sure. Oh, Rick's on. What up, Rick? Hey, man. Welcome, welcome. Of course, you'd be a steak, duck, or iguana. I mean, you've been eating this for a long time. Let me just check on Instagram. Actually, this is the first time I've streamed on Instagram live. So I see El Carnivore. Hey, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. I was vegan for 4 years. Worst time of my life. Thank God I found carnivore. Hey, man. Welcome to the good life. And I'm also thankful. Excuse me, that I found carnivore. I mean, who? Yeah, eating heart attack chicken. Yeah, yeah. Anything else here about the study? They looked at, okay, the other outcomes that they were looking at was the weight loss. So they didn't really specify whether they're looking at fat loss or water loss. It was just straight up weight loss. I'm trying to open up this study, but my computer is, oh, there we go, the PDF version. So yeah, there was nothing significant here. Oh, let me see if I can. Let me try again. Oh, had venison burgers today. So good. Yeah, I never had venison before. What is it? I'm assuming it's it's game meat for sure. So it'd be tough, right? Be tough. Um, Over here we've got a lot of kangaroos, so that's you know our game meat. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the texture, really. Curious, how does venison taste like, guys? And the other thing that they saw on the study was they looked at other markers, HDL and triglycerides. With the vegan diet, they saw lower levels of HDL and higher levels of triglycerides compared to the omnivore group. So a lot of people would suggest that that isn't a good thing in terms of, if we're looking at markers. That's what a few people online in the carnivore space would say. Uh, for me, to be honest, I I don't really look at it so much. Um, well, the way I look at it is that your lipoproteins are going to be controlled by your genes, right? So if you're gonna eat a diet that's high in glucose and carbohydrates and low in saturated fats, I mean, basically whatever you eat will influence your lipid markers, right? So why worry about them in the first place? I think the big focus should be what you put in your mouth in terms of the macronutrient intake content. Looking at the other things that they looked at, or the blood sugar levels, the glucose, basically at equal par, both the same from the vegan and the omnivorous diets. Insulin levels with the vegan diets were a little bit lower, and which they didn't mention in the discussion part of the study is that the B12 levels, of course, with the vegan group were lower than the omnivorous group. I wonder what other vitamins would have been deficient on the vegan diet. Hmm. Deer meat isn't tough, isn't it? Oh, cool. Well, you know what? If I find myself some venison on the store, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna try it. Uh, I've tried horse. Um, I've actually tried raw. I had it raw, and it was damn good. It was good. I won't lie. I had it in Japan. Sashimi. Okay. Not a lot of fat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I assumed that it didn't have a lot of fat. So, um, mm. You get frustrated with raw vegans. A lot of things frustrate me, but yeah, raw vegans is, yeah, it gets frustrating. Um, yeah, I guess if you know what, I'm okay with with the ideology of veganism so long as it stays an ideology. I just hate it how you've got to use or claim that it is backed up by science. Um, you know, it's not. It's not. As long as you stay in that lane of theology and ideology, hey, you do you. Um, but when they go online and say things like, meat is bad for you because of this, then that's when I get it. When I have a problem with it. Um, to be honest, I get more frustrated with the, I guess, fitness community or the whole calories in, calories out peoples. They frustrate me a lot. And it's not because I have nothing against the person themselves, but it really is with their I guess they get really defensive. They really do. Oh, of course, yeah, too young. How young? If you don't mind me asking, Mama Cracker. Um, you know, uh, and did they do it by choice? Hmm. I tried veganism for a month, and the one thing that I noticed from it was the amount of time I had to sit in the toilet. Just and at that time I thought it was such a good thing, man. This is so healthy for me to just have all these bowel motions. Uh, I thought, man, I'm hungry all the time, but my bowels are moving. This is great. And there was only so much you could handle with it, and really what snapped me back into reality was, damn, I missed eating meat. I missed eating, a big fat steak. I could not run away from those uh hunger signals that craved eating animal food basically. Uh yeah, nice, nice. Breatharians, not heard of that before. The fruitarians I've seen online, they that's another, I guess, branch of veganism. But yeah, yeah, it's scary that people would even try these. I heard about the fruitarian that everyone talked about that passed away as well online. Very sad thing. Um, you know, but yeah, it's scary that people would even try them. Um, but you know, you can't control what some of these people think. The Seiko mindset is frustrating too. Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. I posted on, before I went on, social media, on the YouTubes and yeah, basically when I first posted about Seiko and my thoughts around it. Oh man, I got hate from everywhere. I had people who I had not even talked to for a long time come out and reach out to me and um, you know, I felt like they took it a bit personal, which it isn't. It really wasn't. Yeah, you know, but yeah, it's very frustrating. Ooh, I'm back. Fruitarians are nutty as well. Hell yeah. I mean, it's again another ideology, and I think it just needs to stay in that lane. There's nothing healthy about it. Oh, they're in their 20s. Okay, so yeah, look, it and I guess you have to live and learn, and as a lot of us did, like your kids did, um, and yeah, I mean, a lot of us, I think, who are watching right now, a lot of us went vegan. Actually, I've spoken to Rick. He went vegan for a little bit. Am I correct? Uh, Nicole went vegan, and looks like Susie as well. Yeah, went vegan for a month, and it was awful. Mostly vegetarian with chicken occasionally. It was for ethical reasons, but damaged my health. Lots of so much muscle loss, anemia, neuro problems. Yeah, I mean, imagine if you would have continued that. Uh yeah, I simply stopped because I just couldn't couldn't do it with the cravings. Like I just needed to eat meat really. Um but I went vegan initially because at that time I had a very close family member of mine went through a significant you know it basically had a heart attack, had a cardiac arrest, and I just it was a big scare for me because the doctors were saying, "Hey, it's hereditary, this heart disease thing, and you should really start to look after yourself." And the whole family basically went on a had a bit of a health scare, and so we tried everything. We all we were doing our best to follow advice from our very knowledgeable medical professionals whom we seek advice from. So yeah, I went vegan because damn, I didn't want to have a cardiac arrest. 7 months, vegetarian or vegan. I'm surprised you stuck out that long though. That's a long time, long time. And yeah, what was the other comment? Vegans are obsessed with pooping. Yeah, it's not a really nice obsession to have, to be honest. I mean, if you think about it, like I don't know how people correlate eating. Oh, I mean, going to sitting over the toilet with you know, uh, the amount of times you sit in the toilet with good health. Like I mean, I feel stupid thinking about it, honestly, and I feel stupid ever believing that that was such a good thing. That having these frequent bowel motions were a sign of good health. Hmm. Um. Yeah. Yeah. Uh. Yeah. That's basically it with the whole um Netflix documentary. I really think it's just it's nothing. It's pointless. Very pointless to watch it. You don't have to watch it, guys. You only have to uh look at it at a glance, and you can see how glaringly obvious it's been. Um, it's vegan propaganda, basically. Yeah, because you couldn't find any iguanas. I, I'll let you talk about that, Rick. But we talked about. I think you've discussed it with with us before. I'm trying to remember what the reason was, but I'm sure you'll let us know why you went vegan. Guys, if y'all don't know who are watching, Rick has been a carnivore for 40 years, minus his 7 months, if you want to look at it that way, minus his 7 months of being vegan. So, very impressive stuff. And guess what? He's still here. Hasn't had a heart attack, hasn't died of scurvy. Hmm. Oh yeah, and they get into the whole environmental concerns. Um, and hardly anything on regenerative farming. No, 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 no. Because look, it's the cows, Susie. The cow farts. That's what's causing the global warming. That's what it is. So, regenerative farming. That's not you know that's not even in the picture of improving the environment. It's all about you know electric vehicles and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Threat to die. Yeah, yep. Yeah. 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 The other thing now, moving on to the next, I guess, topic I wanted to talk about was in line with the World Carnival Month. A lot of people would be, wanting to start the carnivore diet or have been encouraged to do so. And I guess for those who are online watching, and I'll share some of my thoughts around it as well, is that what are some tips you guys have for people who are just getting started on the carnivore diet? Um, I'll bring up a few things that I've seen um, in Facebook pages, main large pages that have got a lot of newbies asking questions. One of the things that I often see in these Facebook groups is about electrolytes and whether or not, how do people manage their electrolyte levels or their balance i- on a carnivore diet. Hmm, hmm. Yeah, no scurvy yet. 2 years as well for you, and you haven't got scurvy. Hmm. I think we're onto something, guys. Eat meat. Haha, yeah, that's a good start. And look, I think you know what? Yeah, for those who are wanting to get started on the carnivore diet, the first thing you need to do is eat meat. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Um, do not use electrolytes, and I've never had cramps. Yeah, yeah, and that's similar to me. When I first started low carb, um, I and I guess that was the sort of the starting point of it all for me. I never really got into supplements. uh, or any sort of electrolyte supplements. I never had the issues of cramps or the insomnia or any of those things associated with electrolyte imbalance as well. So I think the successes I've had in transitioning to carnivore, it really was due to starting off eating a low carb diet um and slowly, allowing my body to, excuse me, to transition and to adapt into, you know, eating a largely fat and protein diet. So, yeah, I think for most people you can get away with it with not needing any sort of electrolyte supplements. I basically heavily salted my foods, and that's where I think I got most of, or retained most of my electrolytes. Because if you're going to be eating carbohydrates, um, sorry, if you're shifting diet, diets, overnight, you are going to experience a lot of, I guess, unwanted uh, health problems. Electrolyte balance being one of them. Gastrointestinal upset and irritation is another one. But basically, yeah, if there's one tip that I could, share to those people who are starting or wanting to get started or have just started off, don't jump from one diet to another, especially if you are jumping from a standard Western diet, basically eating cake on Sunday, steak on Monday. You know, I highly, recommend people not to do that. And that's largely to do with, the gut microbiome, changing your fuel source from carbohydrates to fats, um, and yeah, alleviating the Randall cycle. Yeah, don't jump from one diet to another. You should transition, like a lot of people say online, uh, between 6 to 8 weeks of slowly weaning off carbohydrates, plant foods, and yeah, to buy whole natural food if you're transitioning to carnivore. Yeah, exactly. Don't buy junk. Um, yeah, straight away you can cut out your processed sugars. I think, if there's anything you could do immediately is to stop eating sugary foods or sugary drinks. And definitely for me, I would say cut seed oils out completely. Mm. People struggle with cravings coming off carbs. Having carbs in the house increases the temptation to go off plan. Exactly. And that doesn't just go for beginners as well. That's for people who are that who've been on the diet for a while. I mean, the moment you have carbs, the more, and I speak by experience here, when I have carbohydrates and when I go off plan, off the rails, um, I have even just a little bit of carbohydrates, I immediately crave them. Um, and that's just the hard wiring that you've got in your neural pathways. You've just you've eaten that way for a long time, and these cravings won't go away overnight. I don't think anyway. So yeah, the more and more the more carbohydrates you have in your system, the more cravings you will likely to have, I think. My fast food is iguana. Well, I mean, if you've got iguanas, hey man, uh, you go for it. That's your fast food. Fast food, but not junk food. Yeah, I bet it wasn't that fast. Oh, you people give you duck food as well, huh? Mm. Yeah, I get a fair amount of duck food around. I've got a fair amount in my house right now. I mean, especially after the holiday season. Hmm. Yeah. Wow. That's it. That's it. And yeah, another tip is to make sure you eat enough meat to be satiated. We're so used to approaching this thing as a diet, and that usually means starving ourselves. Yeah, yeah. So what if you're the more and more eat meat and the less and less carbs you eat, the more stronger your satiety signals are. And I can attest to that because you know um it's very hard to overindulge on meat and fat. I don't know about you guys that are on and have tried just eating, you know, trying to eat excess of, meat and fat. I actually tried the whole 2-week priming protocol as guided by uh, you know, Professor Bart K. It was hard, man, and it's really hard to overeat with fat and protein. It's very hard. You've basically got this big satiety signal that says, stop eating. And if you force yourself to eat any more than that, it's just, oh man, it's hard. And you know, I couldn't finish that 2-week priming protocol. It took me about 10 days to say like, nah, this was it. I can't do this. So yeah, um, eating enough meat to feel satiated is the way to go. And yeah, that's all you basically need. I don't think you need to be tracking um, to reach, your body's potential of, maintaining a good, um, body composition. If that is your goal, and it's also very hard to starve yourself on for me anyway. I think it's very hard to starve yourself on a carnivore diet as well. Like I know that I need to be eating more. Um, I can't undereat on the carnivore diet either. I mean, I can force myself to do so, and if I've got a plan to fast, yeah. But you know, uh, let's say I'm out and I'm eating on the go. I've got to switch up to 2 meals a day because um, you know, uh, if I'm having McDonald's patties, I just don't feel satiated, and that also goes for the type of meat as well. I cannot get satiated from just eating, um, seafood, for example. Hey, John. Hey, welcome for another big fat yarn. Better late than never. The whole house is filled with carbs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen how. Yeah, that's yeah, and I'm like that too when I go to other people's houses, filled with carbs. But hey, each to their own. Eating pork, man, I love pork. I love pork. Um, if there was a sort of hierarchy in um the the meat kingdom that I like to eat, beef was number one, pork second, lamb. Actually, no, not lamb. I would say seafood third, lamb fourth, um, eggs, and then dairy. And I'm sorry, but I have to put chicken down down my hierarchy of things that I like to eat on the carnivore diet. I am not a fan of chicken. I'm not. Curious to know, guys, what are your what is your order of your favorite meats to eat on the carnivore diet? Would like to know. Um, I'm sure a lot of people would say beef is number one. You got an off switch with your protein. Your body tells you when you've had enough. With fat, I can usually eat more though. I am the opposite. And I know this is a bit TMI, too much information, but excuse me. Just yesterday, um, I made my own beef tallow, and I made it off the slow cooker, and I had these beautiful, crispy, um, fat pieces. I had a bowl of it, probably enough to should have lasted me for a few days of just the I guess I don't know how you call it, chicharron, beef chicharron. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, I had these beef fat pieces that I was just munching on, and I finished the whole bowl. Um, and yeah, and I had steak that day as well, and it was just oh, man. A few hours later, woo, I could tell that I'd had too much fat. Um, yeah, but I didn't have a really good signal to say stop. It just tasted so damn good. Yeah, yeah. How do you make your pork chops, man? Uh, Steamed pork chops, huh? A fry in lard. Oh, that sounds good. Sounds good. Got no off switch for meat, especially steak. Yeah, neither. I don't. It was steak. Yeah, got no off switch for that. Mm. Oh, really? Ooh. Um, yeah, I'm not a fan of chicken just because of the flavor. I'm not a fan of the yeah of chicken unless it was deep fried, and which is obviously not good for you. Beef, chicken, pork, fish, bacon, and hot dogs. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, you've got duck up there. Beef, duck, lamb, iguana, shrimp, then lobster, fish, and pork. Oh, pork is down in your list there. Hmm. It's funny, yeah, we've all got beef as number one. Awesome stuff. Beef, shrimp, pork, and lamb are tied. Pork and lamb are tied. Eggs, then chicken, then turkey. Wow. We've all got our own preferences. That's awesome. Um, yeah. Look, to be honest, I've always loved seafood. I love seafood, and if somehow I could eat seafood and get all the nutrients I can from seafood, I would have that as number one. But you can't, and you really, and I know that because you just cannot get satiated with seafood. So yeah, beef definitely tops. Yeah, I only like deep fried chicken. Yeah, only way to go, right? Yeah. Yeah, I like yeah. Other any other tips, guys, for people who want to share some tips for those who wanted to get started. Another one that you know, another tip that I could share out there for those who are new to carnivore is yeah, to if you've had trouble in the past, if this is not the first time you're getting into a low carb keto or carnivore diet, it wouldn't hurt to seek some consultation or even some coaching from people on who have got the qualification to do so. Um, I think you've got to do if you understand or you are committed to making this lifestyle change, but are having difficulties in doing so, definitely think about it and seek out help from people. Um, you know, you can only go so far with these Facebook groups, and I'm not saying anything negative about um joining Facebook groups or what people say online on these Facebook groups, but you often get a lot of opinions, and you know some of them, not all of them, some of them are, I think, you know not good advice. Basically, people that you know say things based off their experience, or sorry, that not really so much on their experience, but will use things that are out of context related to that person's problems. Sometimes it needs a proper assessment from you know someone with the knowledge and the skill set, and the expertise to be able to find out what problems a person might have in um, being consistent with with the diet that they want to try and get into, and also the goals that they want to achieve. So yeah, long story short, get some help if you need it. Okay. Have snacks handy, boiled eggs, jerky, crunchy things, pork rinds. Hell yeah. Um, yeah, I had all those things, all those things when I first started off. I had so many snacks. I had boiled eggs ready on the fridge, ready to go. I had a big pot, well, I still do. I always have a big pot of bone broth. Um, because my household, we all love bone broth, and that was always handy because if I needed that you know quick fix or something, I would just microwave some or heat up some bone broth and drink that, and usually that would make me feel satiated at times. um the crunchy things, yeah, definitely. If you've got an air fryer, get into some dehydrated meat. That's some, that's a pretty good hack. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, having snacks handy, that's an awesome tip. And if you're on the go, if you're out and about, um, and I don't promote, fast food, but if you are stuck on your food choices, uh, McDonald's, they do the beef patties. I know a lot of people like to do that as a you know as a last resort. I do. If I'm out and I'm hungry and I don't have any food available, or I'm limited in what I can eat, I'll go to McDonald's and I'll have a few beef patties, no seasoning, if they can. But yeah, sometimes you just can't avoid the seed oils, basically, if you're out in public. Bacon, oh man, yeah, that's a good snack to have. Lionfish are invasive but tasty. Ooh, really? Um, Never heard of a lionfish before. Yeah. If you don't want to eat carbs, get them out of the house. Have a meat meal before you go shopping. Buy only meat. If it's not your house, then you won't eat it. Yeah, that's a good tip there. If you can, yeah, just get rid of it. Just get rid of the carbs in the house. Um, in my case, I can't get rid of all the carbs. Um, I got rid of most of the carbohydrates in our household, but unfortunately, my kids, because they're still young, and introduced them to carbohydrates when they were younger. Um, there's some foods that we have to keep in our house, like we have to keep a bag of rice. Um, kids love rice. Fruits as well. Like my kids love to eat fruits. I do limit the amount of sugar that we have in our household. Like, let's say if someone gives us chocolates, you know, we offer them to our guests that come in, and or we give them away as presents. But for the most part, yeah, if you can try and get as much carbohydrates out in your pantry as possible, yeah, do that. And you have a meat meal before you go out shopping. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, before you go out for out in public, if you know that you're going to be going to a party that's going to be that you are going to be limited in your food options. Say, for example, you go out to a Christmas party, or a birthday party. You can just eat beforehand, eat to satiety. And if you're already adapted to eating an OMAD lifestyle, once a meal, one meal a day, and you're pretty much sweet for the whole day. So if you eat beforehand, you're good. Yeah, that's a good tip, John. Everyone's system will react differently. Will react to the fat levels differently. So be prepared for some bathroom issues or other changes with digestion. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that goes in line with what I said earlier. Don't change your diet immediately, because you will, you know, likely experience gastrointestinal issues. And the more slower and more gradual you transition into carnivore, the less likely you are um, to experience those digestive issues. And I'm really, going off by what I see online and what people have posted on these Facebook groups. Um, yeah, initially I even the change from keto to carnivore, because I transitioned quite slowly. But that change from keto to carnivore, that had some changes in my gut function, and I was more on the opposite side of the spectrum. I had the constipation, and so I did have to up my fats a little bit. But yeah, it was very short lived. Some people have these gut issues for a long time. I've heard, people having diarrhea for weeks when they first started. Mm. But yeah, I think there's a good sweet spot when it comes to fat intake, uh, and that really comes with experiment. That's all I think you can really do. Oh, you can give chocolates to ducks? Wow. They'd be, happy ducks. It might be good to avoid going out to eat for the first few weeks. If you have to go out to eat, check the menu ahead of time and plan your meal. Don't be embarrassed to order carnivore. Hey man, yeah, don't be embarrassed at all. Um, you know, if I'm out, like let's say I'm in a restaurant with some friends, I just order the steak and I'll, you know, have all the veggies and all the side. If it comes with a plate, I just don't eat it. Or you could just say, I don't want any veggies or chips or fries or whatever. Um, yeah. Hmm. I I also did avoid. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. No, I didn't actually. I didn't avoid eating out. I basically just, I willed myself to say no to eating other foods. And when people did ask, I just, I took it by the chin. There were a lot of social constraints when I first started, even keto. Like when I told people, when people started to notice that I lost weight, and when I told people that I was eating less carbs, uh, the amount of looks and the amount of people, telling me, "Oh, should you be doing that?" Or a lot of commentary from the background. Yeah, I just had to cover it by the chin. I just, you know, um, I just forced myself to be resilient and to just say, "Hey, guys, I want to keep doing this, and thank you for your opinion, but you know, I'm experiencing some good things in my my experience." So. Mm. Don't give ducks chocolate. Yeah. Right, right. Took a while for you. So I had some changes going from keto to carnivore too. Took a while for my gallbladder to catch up. Yeah. And that's another thing too. Everyone has a different starting place, right? Everyone has a different starting place. If you're going from keto to carnivore, or if you're going from sad diet, or even going from vegan to carnivore, there's always going to be a different starting point. Um, and yeah, some people also have issues with their gallbladder. Again, another reason why you need to consult with someone. Need to consult with a either a doctor or a health professional if you've got health problems or if you've got issues with cravings or addiction. You know, um, that's a good example. People with gallbladder issues or have had their gallbladder removed. You need to be you need to watch a few things, including, your macronutrient ratios. You can't just, eat a whole bunch of fat when you don't have a gallbladder. Mm. Ducks eat anything, really? So I guess they eat they live an omnivorous lifestyle. Yeah. Other thing too, it's I don't know. This thought just popped into my mind. Going back into the whole vegan, ideology thing. Uh, a lot of them use ethics as their the basis of their position statement, and also their uh animal rights. Basically, they like to use rights as as the basis of you know why animals need to have the same rights as human beings. They need to they have the right to live, basically. um I don't know why this just popped out of my mind, but you know how do that, you've got carnivorous animals as well. Does that mean that they should be also, are they also looked down upon by vegans? I wonder if they're looked down upon. Because I mean, a lion, you know I would love to, if you could communicate to the animals to say, you have rights. Well, I think that a vegan should go to a lion and actually communicate that with them. Tell that lion, don't eat that gazelle, because they've got rights. They've got human rights. They've got the right to live. See how that goes. Natural ethics, yeah. I don't know why this popped out of my mind. It was it was funny thought. Um yeah. Any other tips, guys, that you want to share? I think that's, yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking of anything else. Oh, hydration as well on the carnivore diet, or getting started to carnivore diet. I think same thing with your signaling. If you're thirsty, drink. If you're not thirsty, don't drink. Simple. Mm. It sort of goes aligned with the whole electrolyte issue thing. I think people just need to, if you're eating a meat based diet, listen to your body. If you're thirsty, you're probably your electrolytes are out of whack, or need to be adjusted due to the circulating volume of fluids. So drink water if you need to. If you don't need to drink water, if you don't feel thirsty, don't drink. Simple. Add salt at first. Hell yeah, yeah. Um, I'm one of those people that love salty things, and I need to salt my food. Like I salt the hell out of my steaks. Um, yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people will notice, is that if you're on a carnivore diet, or some people will notice their salt intake increases. It's no longer bad for you. All right. I'm gonna go back to the Instagram live. Sorry, the comments don't pop up here on StreamYard on Instagram live, so I'm just gonna acknowledge some people on IG live. The Filipino carnivore, what's up? What's up, Sia? Crispy beef fat is the best. Oh yeah. Oh, I love crispy beef fat. Mm. And I've got carnivore Jaquez. What's up, Jaquez? Welcome to the live, brother. You never salt your beef, Rick? Come on, really? Hey, but each to their own. I mean, look, I don't know. I love salt. Mm. Salt your food to taste. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And look, I'm not judging. Look, you don't have to salt your beef. You don't have to salt your foods. It's totally preferential, I guess. And a lot of people I know that I've heard online as well don't salt their foods. They do perfectly fine. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but seed oils, yeah, cut them out completely. I think if there's anything you can cut out almost immediately from your diet is cutting out seed oils. Um, it's unnecessary. I reckon the first thing you should do when you say you want to get into the carnivore diet is to just throw out all those oils that you've got in your in your cupboard, and start cooking with some animal fat. Get some good lard, some good beef tallow, or some ghee. Use butter. Don't use that machine lubricant as your cooking oil. Yeah, no. Um, Only thing I sometimes salt is eggs and chicken. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Um, yeah, yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think look, we're an hour in. We're an hour into this stream, and it is 11:34 a.m. here in Australia. So it's time for me to eat, basically. I am going to break my fast, which I do, yeah, pretty much every day at this time if I can. I eat around midday. Oh, another tip I just thought about. A lot of people would have heard about, these carnivores only eating once a day, twice a day, whatnot. Don't worry about that. Just eat as as you feel. Listen to your body. If you've been eating 3 meals a day, or been snacking for or eating 5 meals a day with smaller snacks in between, do that, guys. You don't need to. Someone's here. I've got delivery. Yeah, so eat as much as you need to eat, in the frequency that you need to eat. You know, your body will tell you, once you've adapted to a carnivorous lifestyle, your body will tell you how many times you need to be eating in a day. Um, to me, I think ideally that's a 1 meal a day, but that's just my preference. And I see Rick here said I eat 3 times a day. Yeah, and that's fine. You know, do you? But don't feel like you need to be eating the OMAD or 2 MADs. You don't need to. Don't just follow people because that's what they. That's what. So I'm just looking at this delivery guy. I think he's left a package here. Yeah. Don't follow your favorite kind of an influencer because you know they've done it for some time already, and then they've adapted to this lifestyle. Okay, you haven't. Take your time. It's all about the process and the journey to get there. All right. Yeah, so I'm getting hungry. What are you guys eating? Or what have you guys eaten today? I know, Rick, you've said you've had some what did you say? Yeah, iguana, was it? I can't remember. I have to go scroll back up. But Susie, you had some venison burgers. I am having a piece of a rump steak. I might have some bacon as well. I bought some bacon. I'm gonna put that in the air fryer. And I've got a cup of bone broth. I'm hungry already. So yeah, that's I think I'm gonna wrap up here, guys. I think I will wrap up. Um yeah, thank you guys for watching, and thank you for those who have tuned in. Thank you so much for jumping on this session, another big fat yarn. Um I really appreciate it, and you know I love the engagement. I love it. I do really enjoy these sessions. I've only done 2 of these for the last, I've only done 2 of these this year, and I think it's going to be a consistent thing for me. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope that I do have people wanting to jump on as guests, and just jump on the live as well if you're willing to do so. Again, that's an open invitation for everyone. Yeah. Just acknowledge a few of the last comments here. Had venison burgers flank. Yeah. Oh man, sounds good. I'm hungry now. And I will try some venison, guys. I will try some venison, and I'll let you guys know what I think. 6 eggs, pork belly for breakfast, 2 pounds of ground beef for lunch, 5 pounds of chicken leg for dinner. Oh, I'm getting hungry and hungrier. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Susie. It was fun to interact with you and uh, with the others as well. Thank you, Mama Kraga. It was a fun talk. Really enjoyed it. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, John, for jumping in. Thank you, who else is on right now? Carnivore Jaquez. Thank you, Sia. Uh, oh, my friend Nestor as well joined in. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, brother. Um, and whoever else has joined in, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I shall see you guys in the next week, which I think I will have another one of these big fat yarns on Monday, or Monday my time. So that'll be next Monday. All right, guys. See you next week.